Hey friends, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today because we are full force diving in to talk about toxins, where you can spot them in your home, how you can lower your toxin burden by leaning into clean living, because this is important. And this is just going to be a different kind of episode than I've done in the past about clean living. I think in the past, I've really kind of taken the first steps approach, which you'll still get here. But I'm going to give you all the education that I feel like I learned at first that really convicted me for this journey, because you need to know why, right? It's not just a trend. And at this point in time, I feel like we spend so much time in our homes. We have a lot of products that we use. People work remote and their homes, like people spend the most time in their homes. And this is where you nourish your family, your body, your souls. And it's important to be mindful of the things that we are putting on our bodies and bringing into our homes. And I think in our consumeristic culture in America, like I said, we just are constantly pumped with advertising of what products to have in your home. So we're just using more products now than I feel like we ever have. And you're constantly being told what beauty products to use, what products to have in your kitchen or for your yard, your skincare, your teeth whitening, hair stuff, whatever. Um, but what is never actually revealed to us in this advertising and marketing is what's in those products and how they were made and how those ingredients could over time actually quietly harm our health. And we're starting to see the effects of this today, which is why I think this movement is gaining more and more traction, which is honestly amazing. And we're seeing a lot of the effects of it today, which that part is not amazing. We see it with increased chronic illnesses people are dealing with everywhere, increased inflammation, digestive and gut problems, hormone imbalances like crazy, and women struggling with their cycle and their fertility, and cancer rates rising. I know that we are at an all-time high for infertile levels in our country. And obviously, that's really close to my heart and what I care about, considering that we've been trying to start a family for a few years and we have directly been affected by that. So I think it's important. So today, I want to talk to the people that are already serious about this journey, as well as the people that are maybe more skeptical. Like maybe you're still not sure why it's such a big deal, or you think it's all bogus, or you think clean living is a trend, or maybe it's too extreme. Because I think that if you come from that place, it honestly comes from a lack of information. And, there were times when I thought a few of those things as well. And it took actually diving into the education to change my mind. So today we're going to talk about common hidden toxins in our homes, how they impact our health. We're going to talk about a little bit of the history of what is our country even doing to protect us from this, and more what has not been done, as well as practical ways to start detoxing your space and just some key ingredients to be aware of so that you can have some autonomy when you're picking products and you feel confident in kind of spotting a few of these ingredients and being like, okay, if I see that, I'm not going to buy that. So I'm going to share some strategies that you can use to how to kind of simplify this journey and not get too overwhelmed in the process, because ultimately caring for our homes and our bodies is an act of stewardship. It is. It's caring for the body that God gave us and honoring the body that God gave us. So it's an act of stewardship and love for ourselves and for our families, for our children, for our homes. So if you're ready, let's jump in. Buckle up. Okay, before we get into the details, I feel like it's important to share a bit of my story and kind of how I ended up here, because it's been a journey past honestly 4 or 5 years. So we'll just start way back in 2020. What a monumental year that affected us all. Back then I was a senior in college, and I was really my Instagram was kicking off, my business was kicking off, and somebody in the Catholic Instagram world reached out to me to be a beauty counter consultant. If you don't know what that is, it was a clean beauty brand that was pretty big. It shut down last spring. I think I've heard stuff about them coming back, but I'm not 100% sure. And so anyways, she reached out to me and she talked about clean beauty and how empowering her role was as a clean beauty consultant to share about clean makeup and skincare with women, because it allowed them to have products that essentially wouldn't harm their bodies but still made them feel beautiful. In the end, I didn't end up joining because honestly, I tried the products myself, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. I didn't love them really. And so I just kind of put the products aside. But the whole idea of clean beauty still kind of intrigued me. And so I hadn't really heard about it before, and that just kind of like lingered in my brain. And I feel like that was kind of like my gateway, if you will, to kind of start looking into what is this whole like clean, clean products mean? Like, what do you mean my makeup is bad for me right now? Like, I just had never heard that before. So soon after that, I started listening to another creator's podcast, and I noticed that she was talking a lot about toxins and clean eating and clean living. And it was this whole kind of like theme popping up again of like, well, we've grown up not like knowing all this information about our products, and now we're seeing the effects of it. And now people are talking and researching them. And so this information is like kind of coming out more now. And so she was talking about all this kind of stuff, and I found myself intrigued again. In conjunction with that, she was also talking about her fertility journey and how this was all part of her journey to support her goal of becoming a mother. And at the time, I wasn't even married yet. I was engaged. I was getting married in a couple months. So I wasn't thinking about like, oh, I'm going to get pregnant right now. And I never thought I would have trouble getting pregnant. And so the whole fertility thing like didn't really like matter that much to me at the time, but I just found it intriguing that she was like sharing about that at the same time. So honestly, I spent, I think, like a year, maybe even two, just absorbing this type of content, like learning and taking it all in. It just really intrigued me. And everything I was learning was factual, like based off evidence, based off research. Like it was real. It wasn't like bogus, weird claims that were being made. It was all backed up. And I watched documentaries on it, and I bought guides, and I like learned, and I read stuff, and I listened to podcasts. And even though I was like taking in all this information, I still didn't really take any action. And I think I didn't because it seemed a bit daunting and intimidating to me at first. Like these women I was learning from spoke with so much knowledge. And I was like, how do they know these things? Like, how do they know so much? How did they get to learn so much about these ingredients? And they, said the words like carcinogens and endocrine disruptors and phthalates and formaldehyde. And I was like, what do these words even mean? Like, oh my gosh, I was so intimidated. And I kind of felt like if I wasn't an expert, then I like couldn't actually lean into this. And I think that kind of comes from my type A, like all in type of person, like personality, which can be a really great thing sometimes, but sometimes I think it can hold me back from things. And so in this case, it kind of made me approach clean living with an all or nothing mindset. Like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in, and I need to know everything, and I need to swap everything at the same time. So that was like not a great mindset, because basically what that did was make me do nothing for a year or two, because I never felt like I was an expert enough. I never felt like I knew enough to be able to know what was actually good product, what was not. And I wanted like the top tier product. I didn't want the one that was like greenwashed, where I was like, oh, I'm trying to make a clean living decision. And then you just find out it's actually not. And so I was like, I need to know everything. Finally, I just got out of that space. And that was really until one of these clean living creators shared about how you just need to take one small step. To take the first step, you need to swap out one thing, and then the next, and then the next. And then little by little, it'll all add up. But if you wait to know everything, or if you wait to know what exactly to swap everything for, then you're never going to make the next right step. And just like shopping for anything, it takes time to kind of figure out like, what brand do I like? What works well? What doesn't? And so basically, that was my encouragement to be like, okay, I'm going to shed all of this like pressure that I'm putting on myself, and this like overwhelm and intimidation. And I'm just going to start one by one. And if it's not like the best product, that's fine. I'm making an effort to do something better for my family, and that's a good thing. So I looked at what I had in my home, and I decided to swap out products that went directly on my body and were absorbed by my skin first. My logic with that was like, okay, these things affect my body. So the ones affecting it the most are probably the ones that go on my body directly. So I personally started with skincare and makeup, as those were things that I was using every single day. Then I moved on to body wash and hair care because I was also using that like every day. Then I moved on to lotion, and then hand soap and all the things. So once I realized, wow, there actually are brands creating these products in a way that won't harm me and they still work well, like my old toxic brands, I was bought in because I think at first, especially with my experience with the first clean brand that I tried, the first clean beauty makeup brand, and how I didn't like how it worked, I was kind of discouraged and I was like, these products don't really work. Like the whole clean thing doesn't work. The whole natural products doesn't work. But I think it just kind of takes trying what brands work for you, what brands work for your home, what brands you actually like how they work. There are several brands, and you don't have to be stuck in the mindset of like everything is bad around me. And if I don't use this, Tide soap or Cascade soap or naked palette, eyeshadow palette or Tarte or whatever, then like I'm not going to have a product to use. No, that's not it. Like you just find the brand that actually works. You try different brands just like you did when you were first shopping for makeup or household products, and then you find the one that works for you and you find the one that you like. So once I started actually trying brands out and realizing that they can still work just as well, sometimes even better than your conventional brands, I was bought in and I was like, this can actually be easy. All you need to know is a few red flag ingredients to get started and just start learning about what brands you can actually trust. So I kept going. That was my motivation, and I kept learning. I kept swapping. Next was my laundry detergent, then my dishwasher soap, then my dish soap, then my all purpose spray. And I tried a few different brands until I found the one that I felt worked best. I think I tried like 3 different laundry soaps that were clean and non toxic before I landed on the one that I love, Truly Free. And basically, once that I had a brand that I loved that I didn't think twice about, and it didn't stress me out anymore. It didn't stress me out to be like, "Oh my gosh, what can I use?" I just had my brand and I just reordered, usually online, and continued living life as usual. And now like swapping products is not a point of overwhelm for me. And another thing to note here too is that my motivation behind all this comes from just being someone that cares about health in general, health and wellness. But also, this journey was spurred on by our own fertility journey. And in struggling to conceive in that first year of marriage, and now over 3 years of this journey, I wanted to learn how these toxins were affecting my hormones and my fertility specifically. And that gave me even more motivation to actually do something about it all and make changes in my life. So, that's kind of the groundwork. That's kind of my story of how I got into it. And if you relate to it at all, I just want to invite you to shift your mindset about clean living. This isn't about stress or perfection. Okay. We're going to get that out the window. It's about embracing truly the beautiful vocation God has given us as caretakers and stewards of our homes and our bodies, of our families, and of our children. It's about having autonomy and ownership over what products we bring into our home and put on our bodies. We don't have to use the conventional big brand names that have been around for forever. Sure, it's more convenient, maybe because you know the name and it's easy to grab it at the store. But if you just learn where to buy the clean products, it's actually not that much harder. And it's not that hard to buy it online when you run out. And if there's a couple, if there's a week or two where you're like, you don't have that product and you need to fall on the like old one, that's fine. Like it's about also having grace throughout the process and not letting the stress of needing everything to be clean, like override your intention to just do the next best thing for your family. So there's that. There's my story, my little pep talk. Now we're going to dive into the specifics and talk education, because this is what really convinced me in the beginning. And this is what I really needed to hear to be bought in. So I want to share it with you. Okay, so here's a fact that shocked me when I first started learning about clean living. And this is what sort of started hooking me in this whole journey. And that is that the last major federal law that governs the cosmetic and personal care industry in the United States was passed in 1938. Yeah, let me just repeat that. The last major law that governs the cosmetic and personal care industry, aka the laws that protect us, make sure that our products are safe in the cosmetic and personal care industry in the United States, was passed in 1938. That means it's been over 80 years since there has been any real update to how these products are regulated for our safety. So, yeah, that doesn't make me feel very good because think about how much has changed in the world since 1938. Like the products we have now are not the products they used 80 years ago. And yet the laws protecting what we're putting on our skin daily have not kept up one bit. So because of this, companies can legally use thousands of ingredients in their products, even if those ingredients are linked to things like cancer, hormone disruption, infertility, allergies, skin irritations, chronic illnesses, etc., and more. And plus, the cherry on top, they don't even have to fully disclose what they're using. One of the biggest loopholes in this industry is the word fragrance, which we'll get into a little bit later. But the biggest loophole is the word fragrance on an ingredient label because that one word can legally hide hundreds of different chemicals, which many have never been tested for long-term safety. So fragrance doesn't just mean what makes the product smell good. They might be hiding a bunch of other ingredients in that so that they don't have to disclose it. So that in itself right there was a huge motivator for me, and I hope is a huge motivator for you. Now, here's another big one. What we put on our skin doesn't just sit on the surface. Our skin is a living, breathing organ. It's the largest organ in our body, and everything we put on our skin is absorbed through our skin and can enter our bloodstream in literally like 30 seconds. So, yes, that lotion, that makeup, that body wash isn't something that we just lather on and then wash off. It becomes part of our like internal environment in our body. And as women, we are constantly coming into contact with stuff like this because the average woman uses about 12 personal care products every day, at least, which exposes her to around 168 different chemicals daily. And that exposure is cumulative. Like it builds up over time. So just think about that. Like you don't think about that when you're going about your day and you're brushing your teeth and putting on your foundation and you're washing your hair and you're putting lotion on or you're using shaving cream or perfume or whatever. Like you use a lot of care products every single day. And if you just sit down and start to write them out, you can see them add up. And once you realize that the average is around 160 chemicals a day that you're exposing yourself to, you realize so often we're exposing ourselves to this. So it's not about a single product here or there. Essentially, it's about the layers and the years of exposure, layer upon layer. So using a certain lipstick one day isn't going to do much, but adding on the foundation, adding on the shampoo, adding on the hairspray, the perfume, the lotion, all of it together throughout the day after day, is what adds up and makes an impact, a negative impact in our body. And what's even more disturbing is how far behind the US is when it comes to banning these kind of toxic ingredients. The European Union has banned or restricted over 1,600 ingredients from cosmetics because they've deemed them unsafe. Guess how many the United States has banned? The United States has banned about 30. That's literally, I'm not misspeaking. It is not a typo, you guys. 1,600 versus 30. Many of the harmful ingredients that the U.S. still legally uses in their products includes red flag ingredients that I'm about to share with you. So this is one, if you haven't been taking notes already, my goodness, take out your notepad. This is going to be a really helpful list that I want you to write down and keep somewhere so that you can start learning about these kind of ingredients and having that empowerment and confidence and autonomy yourself. So let's talk about some of these ingredients. Number one. So just so you know, these are the ingredients that are still legally used in products in the US. Number one, parabens. Parabens are preservatives that have been linked to hormone disruption and are often found in products like lotions, shampoos, makeup, cleaning products, etc. Next, phthalates. They're commonly hidden under the term fragrance, and they're linked to reproductive issues and hormone interference, aka hormone disruption, endocrine disruptors. Next, fragrance. We talked about this a little bit. It's a catch-all term that can legally conceal hundreds of undisclosed chemicals, many of which have been associated with allergies, hormone disruption, and even cancer. Next is talc. This is a product that's often used in powders, like powder makeup, and it can be contaminated with asbestos, which is a known carcinogen, aka causes cancer. Formaldehyde releasers. These are chemicals that slowly release formaldehyde, which is a known human carcinogen, yet again, and it's used usually to preserve products. Next, we have PPGs and PEGs. So PPGs, these are words that are hard to pronounce. Polypropylene glycols, which are petroleum-based compounds that are often used to like soften skin or as like thickeners in products. They have potential links to skin irritation and organ toxicity. And then PEGs, polyethylene glycols, they're used to create creamy textures or as like basically help the product enter into your skin even more, which means they can help other potentially harmful ingredients also be absorbed more deeply into your skin and your body. And the other thing with PEGs and PPGs is that they can carry carcinogenic contaminants if they're not properly purified. So basically, they just increase your exposure to carcinogens and other harmful substances through the enhanced absorption that they offer a product. These ingredients, all the ones that I listed, are in your shampoo, in your body wash, in your toothpaste, in your deodorant, in your makeup, in your skincare, even in baby products, which is just so messed up. And this is what, like, I feel like our society is just not aware of. We just have not until now have we really had any education of these types of ingredients and what they do in our bodies. And I think that we just assume that products that are being made are just good for us, especially when the marketing is geared towards that. Secret, Dove, Pantene, like it's all like beautiful and healthy, to have healthy hair and good skin and all this kind of stuff. And the reality is that it's not contributing to our health. It's truly harming our health. And we're seeing it now. We're living in a time where chronic illness, hormone imbalances, fertility issues, they're all rising. And while there are many contributing factors, we have to start acknowledging that the products we use on our bodies every single day might be part of the equation. So let me say this. It's not about fear. It's about awareness. It's about having the confidence to learn these things, to be able to steward your body and your home well. And that first comes with education and awareness, which is why I'm so glad you are even listening to this episode, because this is an incredible step to take. And as women, as mothers, as daughters of God, we have the right to know what's going into and onto our bodies, and we deserve better than the outdated laws and hidden ingredients that we're currently experiencing. And it is possible to do better, which is why we're even having this conversation. I know so far it's been kind of like doomsday, but like I'm going to teach you, as I have been, what to look for and how to turn it all around. So I'll just leave you with this thought. Basically, just because a product is on a store shelf, it doesn't mean it's safe. That's the bottom line we have to learn. We have to learn to be skeptical. And just because something is common doesn't mean it's good for us. And just because it's packaged with a green and white organic look, it doesn't mean it's healthy. And this is basically what I've learned over the past 4 years of researching and learning in this field. So all I have to say, we don't have to live in fear, but we do have to be informed. And we have the right to be informed because it's our bodies and our health that is jeopardized here. And I think it's also just easy to kind of hear all this and kind of shut down like I did at first and just be like, oh my gosh, it's too much. Everything is bad. But what I'm encouraging you to do is just keep listening, lean in, and just start learning some basic first steps so that you can gain that confidence to swap out your products. I think it's also just easy to stop at the personal care products we use because that's what goes on our body. But once you've kind of conquered those, there are also some common household items that have toxic ingredients that can be silently impacting your health. So, I do also want to share what those toxins are that we can find in our homes and why they matter so that you can be aware. And if you feel ready to take that step, you can start swapping those things out as well. Okay, so first up, we've got non-stick cookware. Many of us, I think, grew up using non-stick pans because, well, they're just so convenient. But traditional non-stick cookware often contains PFOA, which is a chemical that's a known carcinogen, and Teflon. And when you're using them, when these pans get scratched or overheated, they release these toxic fumes, and they also can start scraping off that like nonstick layer, and you start ingesting that and eating that with your food, which can cause harm, obviously, to our bodies. And they've been found to be linked to cancer-causing ingredients. So the health impact here, it's a carcinogen risk, it's an endocrine disruptor, and can even cause lung irritation in some people, which is just, I think, if you're experiencing that, that's probably a more obvious symptom that you're experiencing right away. So the better choice would be to switch to stainless steel or cast iron or ceramic cookware because they're safer, they're longer lasting, honestly, and they still cook really well. Next is plastic cutting boards. Plastic cutting boards may seem harmless, and I mean, I grew up using them all the time, but now we've learned that they can release microplastics into your food as they get worn down. So as you cut your vegetables, your meat, all this kind of stuff, the tiny plastic particles that are coming off of the board get mixed into your food and can be ingested without you even realizing it. And I think at first it sounds stupid. It's like, it's just a tiny piece of plastic. But over time, the more you use it, the more that plastic adds up. And I actually saw a video on Instagram once of somebody explaining the average American's weekly microplastic exposure or like intake was equivalent to a credit card. It's like you're eating a credit card a week. Maybe it was per month. I actually think it was per week. Either way, that's like extremely concerning. Whether you're eating a credit card a week or per month, you shouldn't be eating a credit card at all. Can we all agree on that? Yes. So that's why the microplastics matter. And many plastics in general can contain BPA or phthalates, which are endocrine disruptors, which affect your hormone balance, and they can even affect your brain health. So health impact of plastic cutting boards, hormone disruption, potential neurotoxicity, and microplastic ingestion. So let's swap those out for wooden cutting boards, solid wood cutting boards, or stainless steel cutting boards, or glass cutting boards. I use wooden cutting boards. I think they're beautiful. I like them. They make me feel a lot better, obviously, and don't shed plastics. Okay, next we have synthetic fragrances. We are exposed to these all the time, whether it's your air fresheners, your candles, your plugins, your cleaning products. Many of these products use synthetic fragrances, which we learned earlier is a top red flag ingredient to look for. They often contain phthalates, which are known endocrine disruptors. They are linked to reproductive issues. They can also emit formaldehyde, which is a carcinogen, and it can trigger respiratory problems like asthma. And I think a lot of people don't even realize these are impacting their health. People complain about headaches all the time, or allergies, or asthma problems all the time. And you don't even realize it can be linked to the candles in your house, or the air freshener, or the perfume you're using. So the health impact here: hormone disruption, carcinogen exposure, and breathing difficulties and allergies. Better choices we can use are pure essential oils, or beeswax candles, or simmering natural ingredients on your stovetop like cinnamon sticks or citrus peels, or just finding non-toxic candles. I love a candle just as much as the next girl. So it's about finding the brands that are non-toxic, that are made with the wax that is okay to use, and the fragrances that are not harmful. Next is laundry detergents and dryer sheets, another super mainstream common product we're all using that actually can be harmful. Many mainstream laundry detergents and dryer sheets contain chemicals that irritate the skin, the lungs, and many fragrances in these products, as we know, can disrupt our hormones. Plus, some of the ingredients actually have been linked to neurotoxic effects, which can be concerning, obviously, for children that are in a developmental stage. So the health impact here, obviously, skin irritation. This is common for a lot of people, and people just wonder why. Like, they just wonder, like, oh, maybe my skin's sensitive. It's like, well, yeah, your skin is sensitive to harsh products that are harsh ingredients that are used in the laundry detergents. So health impact, skin irritation, respiratory issues, hormone disruption. Better choice all around is to opt for a natural, non-toxic laundry detergent. There are some that you can still get that smell great. Most of them are fragrance-free, which is super safe as well. And I mean, at the end of this episode, I'll give you the information of where I like to buy all these different types of products so that you know exactly where to shop from. But basically, throw away your Tide is the conclusion here. Next, we have conventional cleaning products. I think this is also an important one to add because these are products we use every day in our home, like all-purpose cleaners, disinfectants, bleach, dishwasher soap, all that kind of stuff. They all contain harsh chemicals that can cause asthma, irritation, disrupting hormones, and disrupting your reproductive health over time, disrupting your gut lining. Just not great effects. There's a study that recently came out. Actually, I don't know what date it was, but I found out about it recently where your traditional, like conventional dishwasher soap can actually cause holes, like burn holes through your gut lining. And I just know so many people that struggle with gut issues, leaky gut. And I'm not saying this is the sole like perpetrator, but if we all use that conventional dish soap and studies are showing that it's causing these like burning holes in your stomach or can do that, then I mean there's a correlation there, and we just don't realize it because these are things that are not being pointed to or they haven't been pointed to in the past. And so we just think that these symptoms are normal or it's always was just born that way or this is just my problem. But actually our products are affecting that. So better choices to use here are trusted brands that use ingredients that are not harmful. I like Truly Freeze. I like Branch Basics. Okay, that was a lot. I know this can feel overwhelming, and I don't want to add more because I know I've already thrown so much information at you, which you might be super pumped about. And if you are, then you're like me because I like learning about all this kind of stuff. But here's the good news. Even though this can feel like a lot, the good news is that detoxing your home doesn't have to happen all at once. Just like I said before, starting with small, doable swaps is what is going to actually help you make progress. And you also have to think about what fits your budget and what fits your lifestyle. I know that clean products can be priced higher than your conventional products, and we intentionally moved things around in our budget so we could prioritize the cleanest type of food that we can and the cleanest type of household products and personal care products that we could. So for us, it was important enough and a priority enough to move things around in our budget. So start with small doable swaps. Some things that we talked about are swapping out your nonstick pans for cast iron or stainless steel, replacing one cleaning product at a time with a better alternative. I would start with your laundry detergent first and then your dishwasher soap. Make sure that you're avoiding things that have fragrance in it and parabens, PEGs, PPGs, phthalates. Swap out your shampoo or makeup or skincare, or just start thinking about the things that go on your body. If you are somebody that washes your face every day, you're like, okay, let me look for a non-toxic face wash. If you like to wear makeup every day, let me find a non-toxic foundation, or a non-toxic shampoo or non-toxic lotion, all that kind of stuff that you put on your body. Start one by one and start swapping those out. And in the end, just remember it's about progress, one step at a time, not perfection. And the reality is we're never going to be perfect, and it's impossible to live a fully non-toxic life. And that's not the goal. The goal is to lower our toxin burdens to support our body's health and hormones and fertility. It's not about eliminating everything that could harm us because we live in a fallen world and we will not be perfect until we get to heaven. So each step is just taking a step in the right direction and just doing something good for you and your family's health. And just remember that in caring for the temple that God gave us, our bodies, we participate in his work of loving and healing our bodies and Every small act, every choice we make to make a healthier home and avoid toxins is a way of saying, thank you, Lord, for this body. Thank you, Lord, for this life. Thank you, Lord, for these precious children that you've entrusted to me. I'm going to do my best to steward them well. And I just want to give a caveat here too. If this is something you're not doing, it doesn't make you a bad Christian. So don't take what I just said as a way of being like, oh wow, if I'm not leading into clean living, then I'm a bad Christian. No, it's just a way that we can steward our bodies well and honor the gift of our life and our bodies. And I mean, I would argue it's a really good thing to do as a Christian. And I think it makes all the more sense to do as a Christian because we care about caring for our bodies. But if you don't, it doesn't mean you're a bad Christian. The other thing to say, because I feel like you have to say this whenever you give advice like this, is that none of this is medical advice. And I'm not liable for any of your personal choices. If you have any questions or doubts, you can contact your provider and make decisions yourself. Okay, I've given you a lot, and you may be ready to start taking steps and taking actions. So if you're feeling inspired, but maybe you're not sure exactly where to start, I want to invite you to check out a few resources that I have. On my website, I have a free red flag ingredients label guide that lists out even more ingredients to watch for. I have a free non-toxic swaps guide that helps you start to swap your first 5 non-toxic swaps. And then I have some brand new clean living guides that just dropped. So all of these things I'm going to link in the show notes because I don't want to give you the wrong trigger word for Instagram. I'm just going to put it here just in case. I think if you DM me or respond to my story or comment on any reel, the word labels, then you'll get the label reading freebie. If you comment swaps, then you should be able to get the swaps freebie. And if you DM me or reply to my story or comment the word guides, then you'll get my clean living guides that just dropped. And I cannot wait to tell you guys about these. I just launched these. They are incredible. I have teamed up with my friend Kristen, the Organamama, to blend her expertise of toxins and clean living with my passion for this space, as well as my passion for Christ-centered living, to bring you these guides. Kristen is an incredible content creator who I've learned so much from. I've had her on the podcast before. So if you want to hear more about her, I'll make sure to link that episode in the show notes as well. And she's in this field because she struggled with a really difficult chronic illness for years. And through clean living and lifestyle changes, she was able to be in remission from that chronic illness and be healed. So she has not had a flare up since she started living this way, which is incredible. And just kind of attests to how much these toxins can actually affect our health. So she has these guides and she collaborated with me to bring them to you. And I added content to them to kind of add a Christ-centered lens to approach clean living in the 3 different areas of the guides. The guides are packed with information and they will literally save you hours, if not years of research. I'm telling you, they teach you what ingredients to avoid, what to look for, packed with actual product recommendations, with links, brandings, discount codes for every single product category that you can imagine. There's 3 guides. There's Clean Home, Clean Beauty, and Clean Baby. Clean Home is your ultimate guide to a non-toxic space. So you learn how to ditch harmful chemicals, and it has over 80 categories of toxin-free home items for your kitchen, your living room, your bathroom, your bedroom, your technology, and the farm, which is super helpful. Next, we have Clean Beauty, and this baby guide is your host guide for choosing toxin-free first home care and beauty products. So you don't find a complete breakdown. Main ingredients to avoid. Is a complete breakdown of the ingredients to avoid, plus 200 product recommendations of a beauty products that are actually safe and work. That's the key here. If they actually still work, so you can build a safe beauty routine and daily care routine that you can actually trust and feel good about. And then we have the Clean Baby Guide, and this is the ultimate guide to creating a toxin-free baby registry. So you can learn how to choose safe, clean baby products that protect your little one's health, and it's laid out in a way that you can easily make your baby registry based off of the way that it's laid out. So I know mamas love this when they're creating a baby registry. so that they can still get all those incredible products that you need for when baby comes around, but it's actually clean and safe for your baby. These are collaborated guides, so they are a version of Organomama's guides that we just brought together to bring to non-audience. So if you're wondering what is actually different about them, it's the weight-based content that I make to different and prices like this. So for example, for the baby one, there's the butter bread, something taste for something nutters, for the almond hairs, with your versus right over your phone, and because I've rolled them out for TikTok, those right. And so head on over to partyfactor.flow/lean-living split into the gun. I dropped into wrap incredible and I swear, you know the guy I business that I'm passing. They would have safety and then it would pour your piece of that. It's the that would say what's back into prayer. That's God. The link code pod. So, friend, this is for you. Like, if you're still living, this is for you. I was so proud of you. Way to press on. Way to learn more. Way to educate yourself. I can do that. I feel sad. Yes. The love between this, you like this. Like, it's being the right that for you. So make sure you check that out. Websites, get good resources, and feed resources already helps over 15,000 and thank you so much for doing it. Great to do all that practice work to begin and be everything your home, your body, proud. Yeah. I'm just popped it. I'll go out, get this in, when you're like all party. If you loved it, I said, tried, leave a review, share it with a friend, your heart, the things with the I don't care. I've been here because it's hard to forget. Fine. Cheers. See that, Adelaide. Hope it be couple, send it to practice. That was the one one. So, and next time you guys, God bless you. Home and you get there. Thank you so much for listening in. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and on social media, and give me a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. That helps me and the show out so much. Also, make sure to follow the podcast on Instagram at EverBePodcast. And if you want more content like this and you don't already follow me, you can also follow me on Instagram at mari.c.wagner. And may his praise ever be on our lips. God bless.